time I do that, Steve.
What the hell? Are you? We're ripping on Tim because he can't get on, and here you can't.
Oh, it's Brian. You know it's Brian. Quit screwing,
Brian.
Brian, he can probably hear us right now because he's on there.
Can I have Malta's phone number and file a formal complaint for having to work with you every show?
That goes. Yeah, never mind. All right, guys, we are at the Big Ten Tournament Preview Show. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpasser. Of course, as always, we got Steve Risley, 1981 national champion. And as always, we are brought to you by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. I hate when people text me during the show that are supposed to be on the show, but, I have accepted you. So we've got Brian on here. I have accepted you. See, I accept you, but there's no picture, which is why I didn't accept you.
Well, yeah, you know what? After seeing Brian the last two shows, it might be better we don't have a picture.
Yeah, but we can't hear him either. All right, the Big Ten Player Awards were announced 6 hours ago. Purdue's Zach Edey was named a Big Ten Player of the Year by both the league's coaches and the media. The Boilermakers center joined Michigan's Chris Webber as the only Big Ten players in the last 30 years to have at least 600 points, 350 rebounds, and 50 block shots in a season. Do you have an issue with Zach Edey over Trace Jackson Davis?
Yes.
What's the issue?
Issue is I think Edey was on a much better team and had a lot more help all season long. I still think he's a great player, but I think the work that Trace Jackson. Can he talk? Can we hear him?
I don't know. Can you talk? He can't talk. Go ahead.
A blind, deaf mute.
But Zach Edey, Trace Jackson Davis.
Yes, I just do. I really think that the workload that Trace Jackson Davis carried this year was greater than what Zach Edey carried. And I don't want to take a lot away from Zach Edey, but I just think he had a lot more help in achieving his statistics, if that's what you're going to rattle off. And I don't think Trace had a sloppy year at all. I would have been satisfied with a tie, but I'm very disappointed in giving that award to Edey over Trace.
Well, I will say this. I think both of them have issues getting help from guards. I'm good with either one. I really think either team would be lost without either one of them, which is why I would,
no doubt.
They'd be playing to be in the CBI or one of those dumbass tournaments there. But when you look at the stats, Edey 21-9, 12.8 rebounds. Trace Jackson Davis 20.5, but 11 rebounds. So when you look at it, to me, I mean, I'm not big on ties. I think that Trace Jackson Davis, I mean, they're both great players. We'll leave it at that. I mean, to me,
do you have is there on your stat sheet you're looking at, does it say total minutes played for the season? Do you have that?
My guess is they both played well over 30.
What do you have an average minutes played per game or
games per minute?
Minutes per game.
Games per minute.
It'd be minutes per game.
31.5.
That was Edey. And what was Trace?
Hold on here.
Okay.
34.
Okay.
They both played a lot.
Yeah, they both played a lot, sure. And I wouldn't call that statistically significant enough to say one was, it's disappointing that it wasn't at least a tie. I think both of those two players were the premier players in the Big Ten. I think they both were of equal value to their franchises. And I don't see Edey as being better enough to select him over Trace. But that's my opinion. That's why I don't have a vote, and I don't. My opinion doesn't count. But I think Trace, at the very least, deserved a tie for co-Big Ten Player of the Year.
All right, then we've got
what other awards do we have?
Northwestern's Chase Ottage and Rutgers' Caleb McConnell were named the Big Ten Co-Defensive Players of the Year. Indiana's Jalen Hood-Schifino collected Freshman of the Year from both the coaches and the media after averaging 17.6, 4.2 rebounds, and 3 assists in a game against AP-ranked opponents. He is shooting 56.5% from two-point range, 90% from the free throw line against ranked opponents. So luckily in the tournament, we're going to play a lot of ranked opponents. If we can get him to play well in the early games against non-ranked opponents, we'll be in good shape. Now, we had one more award from IU, and that was Miller Kopp, who got the Sportsmanship Award.
Yeah. I tell you what, I did notice that it's a funny thing that what you look for.
And the coach of the year was Chris Collins from Northwestern, which I would find hard to disagree with.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think he did a bang-up job there. But back to Miller real quick. One of the funny things, I did notice Miller, every time somebody went down, Miller was lending a hand, regardless of the color of the uniform.
He was trying to get that trophy.
Yeah, he was trying to get that award. He was doing the Eddie Haskell thing, if you've ever watched Leave It to Beaver. Mrs. Cleaver, that's a wonderful apple pie. Let me help you up, Mrs. Cleaver. Ward, you were kind of hard on the Beaver last night.
Oh, well, Ward was kind of hard on the Beaver last night.
Yeah,
all right, so
Ward was hard on the Beaver at least twice.
Speaking of that, the Big Ten tourney preview, we're going to kick it off here. We're going to look at the first round games coming up on Wednesday night. And there's some scintillating games. We've got number 12 seed Wisconsin against number 13 seed Ohio State. I think it's kind of absurd both of these programs would match up in a first round game and as such low seeds, because these are two teams that early on in the year looked like they were going to have good seasons. And then it just kind of fell apart. Ohio State has no shot to make the tournament unless they win 5 games and win the Big Ten tournament. Wisconsin, I don't know if there's anything outside of winning the tournament they can do to get in. I think that when we look at this game, though, I think the Buckeyes in the last week or two have played better. And I know Wisconsin won the earlier game during the season. I look for Ohio State to win this game over Wisconsin. What do you think, Steve?
I've heard virtually nothing out of Wisconsin this year. What's the coach's name at Ohio State? Chris what? I can't think of his last name. Holtzman. I think his butt is on the sling here at Ohio State.
I think he's fired no matter what he does, unless he wins a Big Ten.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this is his last year here. So you either look at it like he's fighting for his life or he's fighting to build a reputation to go somewhere else and coach next year. I go back to people leaving Butler. Butler is a hell of a place to coach college basketball.
Well, Brad Stevens has done all right, though.
Well, Brad Stevens is the lone exception, and Brad Stevens may have been a basketball genius to be able to do what all he did, but nobody's matched that. But yet there's been a lot of guys who have been at Butler and decided, I got to go somewhere else. And I'm going to tell you, that's a hell of a place. And I've played a lot of basketball in that field house, high school wise, got my ass handed to me the last time I played an official game in that place by Aurora. I brought it up.
I didn't say a word.
I know you were going to, though. I just beat you to it.
I wasn't.
But anyway, Holtzman, I think Ohio State wins that game. I think Wisconsin is just down. And they're down and out, and I think Ohio State wins that game.
All right, the second game on Wednesday night is the 11th seed Nebraska Cornhuskers against the 14th seed Minnesota. The Golden Gophers lost 2 Big Ten games to Nebraska already, and they only won, I think, 2 of their Big Ten games all season. However, they have played decent at the end, even though they've lost most of those games. They did get the upset over Rutgers the other night. But Nebraska has been playing better. They've won 6 of 8 down the stretch. I think they come flying into this tournament, and they fly into the second round. I think Nebraska wins this game relatively easy, Steve.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is Pitino still coaching at Minnesota?
No, he got fired.
He got fired, okay.
Yeah.
Shows how much attention I paid. Minnesota, I think hockey. I'm sorry. I just don't think.
Or the Vikings, hell.
Who was the hockey coach from the 80 hockey team? What was his
Herb
name?
Brooks, who coached at the University of Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, great. He's a Bob Knight of hockey. college. He was the college version of Bob Knight in hockey, except Bob Knight didn't drink. Unfortunately, Herb Brooks did.
Herb fell asleep while driving.
Because he'd been drinking.
No, he hadn't. Don't be making up stuff about the great Herb Brooks.
I think he was drunk.
He fell asleep.
Okay.
Well, leave Herb alone. He beat the Soviets.
Alcohol will make you do that, fall asleep.
Well, so will driving
anyway, Nebraska to me is the team you kind of least likely want to prepare to play. They're not the best team, and they're not going to win this tournament. But that's a team that can easily be taken lightly and has the ability to bite you in the ass. They got a good coach. They know what to do. They're just a scrappy basketball team, and really, truly, as a coach, I was like, I really don't want to play Nebraska. We got to play hard against them, and my players are going to think they don't have to play hard against them. And so, but yeah, I think Nebraska gets into the second round easily. And looking at the fact they're going to play Maryland, they can win that game too.
Well, hold on. Let's get to the second round. Now we go to the second round games. And remember, if you want to bet the games, go to betting.net. It's not just sports betting. Betting.net gives you the best online casino. Sit back, relax, and play the top online slots, poker, and table games.
Wait a minute. Is this a record?
What?
This is a record. I have not been called a dumbass by Joe.
You haven't been a dumbass yet. You've agreed with me.
No,
so you're fine.
No, Joe Spillman hasn't.
His daughter had a basketball game.
Huh? It's what?
His daughter had a basketball game.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it then.
So by the end of the show, you might get it. Second round, number 8 Michigan against number 9 Rutgers. These are two teams that have to win this game, I think, to make the NCAA tournament. I don't think the Wolverines dance without doing some good work in this tournament. And they've been much better defensively later. And they also won at Rutgers, was a great defensive performance a few weeks back. I think they knock off a Scarlet Knight team that is playing horrible down the stretch. And I think that Rutgers will be dancing in the NIT when this is all said and done. I'm going to take Michigan with their dumbass coach, Juwan Howard. I can't help it.
I know. I got kind of the same comment. I think Michigan is good enough that if their coach gets COVID, they could win this tournament. I think they're a very good ball club. I just think their weakness is their coach.
Hey, Joe Spillman wants to know where Tim is. Tim, otherwise known as Brian Moore, for some reason couldn't get his camera going tonight.
Couldn't get himself on.
Yeah, he needs a younger person to help him with that, probably.
I know. But I think if Juwan Howard gets a case of COVID and has to miss 3 games, I think Michigan becomes a very dangerous ball club and a team that can win it. And I'm going to disagree with you on one thing. I think Michigan's in the tournament anyway.
No way. Not at 17-14. They lose to Rutgers 17-15 is not getting you in.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. They got to beat Rutgers to get in.
I think they've got to win 2 games to get in.
Okay. Well, they're not going to beat Purdue.
Okay. We'll get to that.
We'll disagree. All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. I agree with you. Michigan should win this game fairly easily. It's close to Chicago. They're going to have a good crowd there. So yeah, I like Michigan in this game without any trouble. The biggest problem here is Juwan Howard.
All right, next up, we've got the number 5 seed, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Farmer Fran against the 13 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. And although losing the season finale to me to Nebraska was a huge disappointment, cost them a double bye. The Hawkeyes have been hot offensively, so was Nebraska, though. And they should be able to get back on track against the Buckeye team that they beat less than a month ago. And while Iowa attempts to improve its seed, Ohio State, like I said, if they're making a deep run, it's in the CBI when this is all said and done. I think Iowa wins this game fairly easily.
Yeah, if they get hot from the arc like they're capable of doing, Indiana, and they're another team that can get to the finals. With some.
Yeah, I mean, they won it last year and nobody expected it.
Yeah, they're unlike my thought process on Nebraska being a dangerous team. Iowa's a dangerous team because they're a good ball club and can win this, and they are not ranked as highly as they probably deserve to be. Like you said, they could be looking at a double bye without an upset. And so, yeah, Iowa easily takes out Ohio State and moves
All
on
right.
to the next game.
All right. I'll let you start this one off. We've got the number 7 seed, Illinois, against Penn State, the 10 seed. What do you think?
I'm going to pick this as my upset. If it's really an upset, I'm going to go with Penn State on this. Penn State is hot. They've got probably the best guard combo in the Big Ten, possibly. Illinois, all over the map. I know you're not high on their coach. I tell you, coaching becomes different in one and done basketball. And, for a lot of teams, like in Illinois, I don't know, is Illinois in already or not?
Illinois is probably in.
Probably in. Okay.
There's a lot of probablys with the Big Ten right now.
Yeah. Penn State is a probably too. I mean, they pull off being. They need to make a little bit of a run here with at least one win, possibly two. But I'm going to call Penn State the upset win in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking Penn State also. I think Jalen Pickett is the best guard in the Big Ten, and he's had a year where he's averaged 18 points. 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He's also shot 80% almost from the free throw line, 39% from 3, 53% from 2. He just gives up 2.1 turnovers in 36.1 minutes of game play. I think he summons enough magic here to maybe send the Lions even farther than this.
Mike, can we portal him to Indiana real quick?
That's what I was thinking. It would be awesome.
It'd be awesome. Come on, Mike Woodson, get over there. Yeah. Go up to Happy Valley and see if you can portal this kid to Indiana real quick.
Next up, we've got the number 6 seed in the second round, Maryland, with their first Big Ten tournament game of the year against Nebraska. Now, in overtime, the Cornhuskers won this matchup a few weeks ago. Maryland has lost some games on the road to close the season. They have the potential to make a deep run. But I'm telling you this, I'm going to take the Cornhuskers. I think they are playing at a much higher level than they have been. Maryland is a different team on the road. I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to take Nebraska to clinch an NIT bid against Maryland.
I think Maryland on paper is a better team, but unfortunately for Maryland, you don't play this game on paper. They're all over the map, like you said. They're home and away. They're almost Jekyll and Hyde.
Wait a second, Robert. I did not say they had the best guards. Which I said is this: I believe the best guard in the Big Ten is Jalen Pickett from Penn State. That is what I'm sticking with. Because I don't think Penn State's got the best guard tandem. I think Northwestern has the best guard tandem. But I think Jalen Daniels.
I may have made that comment flippantly.
Either that or he's commenting to Penn State, Northwestern.
He's commenting, I think, because I think I said that I thought that Penn State had the best game. It's when you got a kid.
Yeah, it's both of them. They're the two. Actually, those are the two teams I least want to face.
The strength of those two teams are their guard play, definitely, and that can carry you in a tournament. If you don't make turnovers and you got guards that can score, can handle the rock and protect the rock and run your offense, you're in good shape in a tournament. Trust me, we had Isaiah Thomas, probably the best guard ever to play in the Big Ten. I know what a good guard will do for your basketball team. Anyway, I'm with you. I'm going to take Nebraska on the upset and solidify their pick into the NIT and possibly get an NCAA. What is Nebraska's record?
They'll be in the NIT. I think they're 16 and 15, 17 and 15.
They really can't in the dance anyway. They'd have to win the tournament outright to get the automatic bids. The only way they're going to get.
And that's not happening.
No, but I think that they'll beat Minnesota and they'll beat Maryland, and then then we'll see what happens. We'll go to the next round.
All right, next up, we've got the quarterfinal round of action. So I've got Purdue against Michigan. I think Purdue has been a bit inconsistent, especially late. They beat the Wolverines in Ann Arbor by 5 points back in January. They've lost a fair amount of games since then. Michigan has not yet won a close game against top-level competition. I like a desperate Wolverines team here. I think they pulled the upset here. I think they solidified their Big Ten or their NCAA tournament hopes. They have Dickinson, who is one of the few players in the Big Ten that can match up with Edey. And you've got Bufkin and Jet Howard, who I think can dominate the Purdue freshman backcourt. I think Michigan wins this game, not just covering the spread. I think Michigan wins it, Steve.
I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think Purdue will get this one against Michigan, and I think it's going to boil down to coaching. I think that Matt is a little bit better coach than Juwan, a lot better coach than Juwan.
My ass is a better coach than Juwan, but
Yeah,
he's got the three best players in the Big Ten.
Yeah, well, and Purdue's got the MVP of the league too. It's very unstoppable. You know, and Dixon's probably the one of two guys that can play close to Edey.
This is the thing, though, Steve. The issue is those freshman guards from Purdue. We saw them fold against Indiana when Shafino went off.
Yeah.
Buffkin. Yeah. And Howard. Those are really good guards, I think, and it's Purdue. I mean, they're known for choking.
Historically, they're
what they ought to do is they ought to take the Purdue emblem, like if you got a Purdue flag and Purdue you see the big P there, and just put two hands over right below where you get ready to make the little thing to finish the P, just to symbolize what they do in March every season.
Piss on themselves.
Yeah, they choke. They choke. It's what they do.
Oh, they do. Choke. I mean, but that's usually the big dance where they do it. But I don't know. Has Purdue ever won the Big Ten tournament?
I'm sure they have.
I don't know if they have. Indiana. Has Indiana ever been in the championship game?
I think they were like 2000 or 2002.
Okay, well, we'll get to Indiana. Right, we'll get there. I'm going to go with Purdue in this one. I'm going to bet against you on this one and take Purdue. I don't know what the spread is. But
there's no spread yet because
no spread.
We don't even know they're playing. Michigan's going to beat Rutgers yet. All right. You had Iowa winning their first or second round matchup, right? Against
yes. So we got Iowa.
So we've got the same thing.
State.
We've got Michigan State versus Iowa, Steve.
Yeah, I got Michigan State in this one because of coaching.
I
think Izzo is just. He's tournament savvy. He'll get his team ready to play.
When's the last time he won anything? I think they didn't make the Final Four 3 or 4 years ago.
He's made noise almost every year he's been in the dance, and only one team wins it. So you can say, when's the last time they won anything? About 67 of the 68 teams.
Now, I think this. I don't think the Spartans are that good. And I think Iowa shoots the ball really well.
The best Spartan team.
And the thing is this Iowa team is tournament savvy in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten tournament last year. Of course, they got knocked out early in the NCAA tournament because it's never good to win your conference tournament, I don't think. I'm going to take Iowa here to pull a minor upset, which brings us to then the number 2 seed Northwestern. I think we both got them playing Penn State. And I think this. Northwestern's already in the dance. It'll be the second time, I think, in their program's history, second or third time. But they find themselves up against the Nittany Lions team that can match them on guard play. I think Penn State's a little bit better underneath the basket. And I think that Penn State will win this game to advance to the semifinals.
I'm going back to coaching. I think Collins is the best coach in the Big Ten right now, or he's done the best job with his team this year. Let me put it that way. Got the most out of his talent, and I think that plays good. They're playing in basically their own backyard in Chicago. Again, I don't know how much that means because they're playing on a neutral court in Chicago, but still, it is, close.
See, the one issue you could have.
I mean, Northwestern may actually even sleep in their own beds and just bust it.
It doesn't matter if you.
They probably will. But I'm gonna go against you on this one. I think that whichever of the guard combinations plays better is going to win this game. I'm going to say, due to coaching, it's going to be Northwestern. I think Northwestern's going to make fewer mistakes in crunch time than Penn State will because of coaching.
I think Jalen gets to the semifinals. Next up, we've got the Indiana Hoosiers. Where I've got Indiana against Nebraska. And do you have Indiana, Nebraska also, or you went away from Nebraska, didn't you?
No, I took Nebraska with you.
So I think the magical run for Nebraska ends here. I think Trace Jackson Davis will be too much for the Cornhuskers. And this has still been an outstanding season for Fred Hoiberg. It looked like a disaster halfway through the year. looked like he would be fired. Now I will expect that he will probably get a contract extension.
Yep.
But I think Indiana moves to the Final Four here. And my Final Four, Indiana will be playing Penn State. And Steve's Final Four, Indiana plays Northwestern. Unless Indiana wants to pick Nebraska here. Or Steve wants to pick Nebraska here.
No, I think Indiana takes this game. I agree with you. You kind of want to root for Hoiberg just because, he's a good guy.
Well, I would, but he's playing Indiana.
He's playing Indiana. I know that's the problem. I can't root for him because he's playing Indiana. And I think Indiana's too much. I think Schifino plays a role in this game, though. If he gets sloppy and gets greedy,
that's every game they play, though.
He can be a liability to Indiana as much as just not an asset. And you got to just be conscious of that with Schifino. He is a freshman. He's been anointed freshman of the year. I don't know, every time he's come off a big game, he's come to the next game and kind of pissed on himself. He never really followed it up strong. So I expect Trace will play well. Miller Kopp's going to probably be ready. He's going home to the Chicagoland area where he started his Big Ten career. I think he's going to be fine. They're going to have Trey Calloway back. I think Indiana's going to be strong, but I think Schifino holds a key in this game, and so does Race Thompson. You're going to have to get good big man play out of both guys. So, but I got Indiana going forward and playing Northwestern in the semifinal round.
All right, so in the semifinals, let me get the right graphic here. In the semifinals, that means you've got Purdue against Michigan State in your semifinal. What do you like there?
I like Purdue. I think Purdue makes a run this year in the Big Ten tournament. I think they're a good basketball team. Painter's a good coach.
I've got Iowa versus Michigan. And I think these two teams make for a great matchup. And I think it comes down to Iowa will need to get hot from deep. Michigan has its own shooters. Whichever team gets the hottest probably wins. But I think there's a massive advantage underneath with Dickinson against Iowa. So I'm going to take the dumbass Juwan Howard to get his team to the Big Ten championship game. And they will play, Steve, for you, Indiana versus Northwestern in the other semifinal. Who do you got?
I got Indiana avenging 2 losses this year to Northwestern.
And I've got Indiana against Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems like the easier bracket, even though they're not the 1 seed. But to me, really, Penn State and Northwestern are the 2 worst possible matchups for Indiana just because of the guard play these teams have gotten.
Right.
And I think for Indiana to be able to advance to a championship game here, it's not just Hood Schifino. They need Galloway. They need Cobb,
Miller, Kopp. Yeah, they need everybody.
They need Bates. Bates is a guy that can shoot the ball, and if he starts to play well, we'll be in good shape.
Well, and he gives them depth off the bench.
Yeah. So when I look at this, I can't pick against Indiana, can I? I didn't in my article. So I'll go Indiana beats Penn State. But I can tell you this, if I could get really long odds on Penn State winning a Big Ten tournament, I would really go to a BetMGM or a DraftKings or a FanDuel and really look to see what those odds are, because I think Penn State has a really nice draw to be able to make a run here. And I think matchup-wise with their guards, I think they could be in good shape. I'm going to take Indiana, though. My Big Ten championship game is Indiana-Michigan. You took Indiana? So you've got Indiana versus Purdue, right?
I think it's round 3. And I'm going to agree with you on the Indiana Northwestern game. I'm going to tell you what, if I was betting this game,
I was Indiana Penn State. So
okay. Oh, you got Penn State beating Northwestern.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know that I had them playing, but according to what this thing said.
All right.
I had Penn State. I think I did. Yeah, I got Penn State beating Northwestern.
Well, you got Penn State playing Indiana.
Yeah, I've got Indiana versus Penn State in the semifinal.
I got Northwestern versus Indiana.
Yeah, so I'm taking Indiana. You taking Indiana?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take him because I'm not betting. But if I was betting, I would give this game a lot more thought than being a former player and diehard Hoosier. Northwestern is a dangerous ball club, and they have beaten us twice, and they beat us soundly. And they have incredible guard play, and we're not good on perimeter defense. And that's a weakness for the Hoosiers. They better bring all their guns fully loaded, ready to play. Because Penn State and Northwestern, we've already determined, have the two best guard backcourts in the Big Ten, and that's a weakness defensively for Indiana. So I'm going to pick Indiana, but it's easy to say that. I'm picking them with ease because I'm not betting the game.
All right. So Indiana-Purdue is your Big Ten championship game. Who do you like there?
I like Purdue. I don't think Indiana beats them 3 times in a season. I think if that happened, there'd be a huge earthquake in California. I mean, some other disaster would happen along with it. You know how those things always happen in threes?
Yeah. I thought that was people died in threes. Hell, natural disasters happen 3 a month anymore. Big Ten championship game for me is Indiana versus Michigan. I think it's a tight game again. I think the difference will be the coaching. It'll be Trace Jackson Davis. And I think Hutch Schifino will come up big. I've got Indiana winning the Big Ten championship over Michigan.
Okay.
And when I look at this, I think Indiana, Michigan, Purdue, Penn State, Iowa at 6, Northwestern 7, Penn State's 8. Did I count? Yeah, I counted them. I think that you end up with what? I think not. If it goes the way my bracket is, there could be 10 teams get in here. So the thing about it is, if the way I said it, and you get the Penn States of the world getting that deep, that could knock it Illinois out of the tournament possibly.
Well, and you know what else will knock teams out of the tournament, Mike, are the upsets and conference upsets. That's going to probably take out 1 or 2 Big Ten teams. There's going to be conference. I mean, there's games going on right now. There's conference championship games happening already. The Horizon League is going on right now.
What's the score?
Let me see here. Let me pull it up here. Come on, get off there. Northern Kentucky 23, Cleveland State 23, tied. And Northern Kentucky must be the favorite. No, Cleveland. It's 3 playing a 4. So number 1.
Is that the championship or the semifinal?
This is the championship, Horizon League championship.
Oh, good. Northern Kentucky get back in. That's the arena football team. My coach played at their arena.
So that's a 3 playing a 4. And so I don't know who finished number 1 in the Horizon League, but that's probably going to eliminate the number 1 seed in the Horizon League. I would guess, because I guess only 1 team in the Horizon League is going to get in. So, but for the Big Ten to pull 10 teams, they've got to have minimal upsets in the conference championship games.
Yeah, the number 1 team in the Horizon League this year was Youngstown State.
Okay, and they're not playing in the championship game, so
they lost to Northern Kentucky last night.
What's Youngstown State's record?
They are 24-9. They actually, when you look at their record, they probably should be in before some bigger conference teams. I mean, they lost to Notre Dame 88-81.
They won't be though. It's the Horizon League.
They lost to Navy. Yeah, they're not getting in the tournament.
No, they're not getting in the tournament. It's Horizon League's a 1-team league.
Youngstown State is a team that will get in the NIT. And everybody in Youngstown will be excited, and they can back it up.
Of course, and we all Hoosier fans don't know what Cleveland State did to Indiana years ago.
1986.
Was that when it was?
Yeah, second round or first round, 1986. I think we were 4 and they were 13.
I think it boils down to an Indiana-Purdue championship game. I think everybody would love to see that, and I'm going to be rooting like hell for Indiana. Good golly, Miss Molly. I want it to happen, but gosh, beating Purdue 3 times in 1 year is just a tall task. And I'm not sure Indiana can muster that many 5.
Dude, I don't know if I want Indiana playing a 3rd game against Purdue because
I know,
it'll take a lot out of everything.
And it makes sense. Talk about that, Mike. You make sense in what you say. This is a team that's tired. I've complained about it being tired.
They're not tired. Everybody's tired because everybody's played the same amount of games.
Indiana's played with a slight bench.
Well, a lot of teams do. Hell, Michigan plays with a slight bench when we
Yeah.
looked into that.
Okay.
That's why I think so many teams get affected if they do make a run to their
But I'm
conference
not sure
championship
Juwan
game.
Howard's smart enough to practice.
That's a good point.
I'm not sure he practices at all. They just show up and play on game days. I don't know.
That is possible. Yeah, he rolls the balls out. It's like the old gym teacher.
Yeah.
All right. So, Steve, our plan is this. Thursday night, the late game is the play-in game to see who plays Indiana, I believe. Yeah. So what we will do is we will go Friday noon Eastern time with a preview show. Does that sound good to you?
Sure.
It'll be 9 your time. All right. And then Saturday morning, again, we would have to probably do it, Steve.
What time? 9 o'clock in the morning, my time?
Oh, yeah. Saturday, though, might be a little dicey. We got to see
I've got trouble there because the surf starts breaking at about 8:30. And it's a half-hour drive from Malibu to my house, so
yeah, so you'll be surfing
with the traffic. So I got surfing on Thursday mornings.
I kind of thought that, but all right, I'll be on by myself then, and Steve will do a remote on his surfboard with his phone to talk about the game.
Dude.
That's actually Friday morning. We will do that show at.
Oh, Friday, I'm fine.
Yeah, Friday at noon. Yeah,
I'm at Muscle Beach. Thursday. I'm at Muscle Beach in Venice working out on Friday.
I figure you look like it. All right, guys, remember to check out betting.net. Also, remember to go like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also, follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Grueling Truth. But for now, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpasser. You've been watching and listening to
Wait. Congratulations to Schifino and to, I guess it's just Schifino.
Well, Trace Jackson Davis was named first team All Big Ten. Schifino was second team All Big Ten.
What was the All Big Ten team?
I just told you. For us, it was those two guys.
No, all 5 of them.
No, I'm not telling you because I just took it off my computer. You should have asked sooner.
I should. Okay.
But all I know is we had one first team, one second team.
I'm going to go with.
I don't care who it is.
I'm going to go with the 2 bigs. I'm going to go with Dixon too. I think Dixon is the front line. Dixon, how about that front line? Dixon, Trace Jackson, and what's Purdue's guy's name? Edey as your front line. And that's playable right there. Those guys are all different players. I mean, Dixon can hit the 3. Trace can play the high post and pass like a banshee. And you just plant Edey down low. And then you get the guard from Penn State you like, and one other guard, take your pick. That's a hell of a team.
This is how I would do it. If I had my first team.
Now, if I was the Lakers, I'd draft those 5 kids.
If I was to go first team, I would go Terrence Shannon from Illinois. I would go Trace Jackson Davis from Indiana, Jalen Pickett, Zach Edey, and Chris Murray. I think Chris Murray is a hell of a player from Iowa. On the second team, I would have like Jamar Young, Hunter Dickinson, Boo Buie, Chase Ottage, and Kobe Buffkin. I wouldn't. You think he's better than Buffkin?
I think if he's Big Ten Freshman of the Year, yeah.
No, he's not better than Buffkin. I don't think he's better than Howard either because they're more consistent. I like Matthew Mayer from Illinois also.
Okay.
But I think Hood Schifino should have been the Freshman of the Year. I'm just saying I think those older guys are a little bit better than him.
Okay.
Right now. Hopefully we can turn him into a 2-guard.
Time will tell.
Also, we've got a congratulations for Robert DeMatt Stewart heading to Lebanon, Indiana. He got this sectional win. All right. They screwed that tournament up in 1998, so I really don't pay attention anymore. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up.
On that.
Thanks for coming
Bobby
on, Robert.
Cox and his group who just totally screwed the pooch on the state high school basketball tournament?
Well, it was the principals that voted for it. So
it was, yeah.
What the hell?
Idiot.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. For Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpasser. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth.